Welcome to this explainer, everyone. Okay, if you're a manager or a leader, you absolutely know the feeling. You want to support your team, you want to be the one who makes things happen, and honestly, you just want a happy culture. But trying to accommodate every single request that lands on your desk, yeah, that's a one-way ticket to complete burnout. Today, we're diving into the exact frameworks and the psychology behind how you can say no while actually keeping your team's morale totally intact. Let's get right into it.
I want you to ask yourself right now, are you currently trying to figure out how to say no to an employee's project idea, maybe a promotion request or an unrealistic deadline? Because constantly trying to please everyone and saying yes to all these different demands, well, it's exhausting. The hard truth is your time and your resources are limited. For every yes you give today, you're inherently saying no to some future opportunity.
According to the Thomas Kilmann conflict mode instrument, there are basically two common ways we handle these competing needs. First up is the accommodating style. This means low assertiveness, high cooperativeness. You're prioritizing the other person's needs over your own. And sure, while this avoids immediate friction, it leads straight to manager burnout. Alternatively, there's the collaborating style. This one is highly assertive and highly cooperative. It means seeking a win-win without sacrificing your own boundaries. So the big takeaway here is this. Saying no doesn't mean you aren't cooperating. It actually means you're collaborating on reality.
Section 1. The Yes, No, Yes framework. To actually put that collaborating style into practice, we use something called the Yes, No, Yes framework. This is rooted in William Urey's Power of a Positive No, and it's essentially a reason-alternative framework designed to soften rejection using pure logic. Here's how it works. First, the initial yes. You ground your response in a higher purpose or shared commitment, kind of validating their innovative thinking. Next comes the no. You deliver a clear, unapologetic boundary, backed up by concrete facts. And finally, the second yes. You propose a constructive path forward, a plan B that addresses both parties' interests. You aren't just slamming a door shut. You're opening up a more realistic window.
Moving on to Section 2. Validating effort and motivation. Look, when an employee brings you a request, their self-worth often gets entirely tangled up in your answer. It makes a denied request feel like a personal rejection. So, to keep things empathetic, try using an I message. This is a concept coined by Thomas Gordon. An I message just expresses your perspective from the first person. Instead of using a defensive you message, something like, you didn't finish this, you focus entirely on your own objective situation. Consider this approach right here. I really am getting backed up on my work since I don't have the financial report yet. This perfectly illustrates the power of the I message. It combines an objective event with a subjective feeling. By framing your boundaries around your own constraints rather than pointing out their shortcomings, you immediately de-escalate any tension. It works like magic. But alongside those I messages, you really have to actively validate the person sitting in front of you. Acknowledge their hard work and their passion. Provide some positive feedback on the idea itself, even if you literally can't execute it, and express genuine gratitude that they cared enough to bring the request to you in the first place. And this is crucial. Follow up with praise later on. Doing this ensures the rejection of the idea doesn't suddenly mutate into a rejection of the individual.
Okay, Section 3. Priorities as neutral shields. Now, even with all that empathy, you still have to stand your ground. The absolute best way to do this without getting dragged into an emotional debate is to use objective company realities to shield your decision. And there's actually a pretty surprising psychological hack for this. Offer only one compelling reason for saying no. Think about it. If you give a list of 5 reasons why a project won't work, human nature dictates that the employee is going to pick the weakest reason on that list and immediately start negotiating it. So give your single, strongest, most objective reason and just stop there.
So, what exactly do these single, strong reasons look like? Well, they're things like approved fiscal budgets, existing overarching commitments, or shared company goals. When you reference a higher-level goal that both you and the employee actually share, it really helps them understand that the no isn't just arbitrary, it's a necessary step to protect the larger mission that you're both working toward.
Section 4. Word-for-word rejection scripts. Let's get practical.
So here's exactly how you might reject an ambitious project idea. I really appreciate your innovative thinking. However, our budget is fully allocated. Let's explore which elements we can implement with existing resources. Notice the yes, no, yes framework doing the heavy lifting here. You start with the yes, appreciating the innovation. You deliver the firm, single reason no. The budget is fully allocated. And then you finish with a second yes, exploring elements you can actually implement right now.
Now, what about an unrealistic deadline or feature request? Try this one out. I can see why this is important, but we've committed to delivering X by August. If we work on your feature instead, we won't meet that deadline. This perfectly expresses empathy first, but then it clearly outlines the consequences. You're showing them that saying yes to them basically means breaking a shared commitment to the whole company.
And hey, sometimes you really just need a firm boundary without an explanation. Something like, I choose to stand with my current position. This is for those boundary-pushing, toxic, or just super repetitive requests where further debate is totally useless. You don't always owe someone a lengthy explanation, you know? Saying no and actually meaning it is a massive tool for your own self-care.
And finally, Section 5, Building Trust Through No.
As we wrap up this explainer, we really need to fundamentally reframe how we view rejection in leadership. Here's the golden rule. A no today protects your team's yes tomorrow. Think about it. If you say yes to every single project, your team is going to drown in work. Deadlines will be missed, and burnout will absolutely destroy your culture. A well-delivered protective no actually shows your team that you're a reliable leader who protects their time and energy. And honestly, that ultimately breeds deep, long-term trust.
I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. Take a look at your calendar right now. Look at your inbox, look at your completely overwhelmed schedule. Remember our question from earlier? Are you saying no to an employee's project idea, a promotion request, or an unrealistic deadline? What do you need to say no to today? I challenge you to take that yes, no, yes framework, pick your single strongest neutral shield, and go protect your team's priorities. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.